All right, let's jump straight into this explainer because what we're talking about today fundamentally changes how we view the machines sitting in our driveways right now. I want you to picture this. It's 2015. A journalist is driving a Jeep Cherokee down a highway just outside St. Louis. He's cruising along at 70 miles per hour, right? Suddenly, without him touching a single button, the air conditioning starts blasting. The radio changes stations all by itself. The windshield wipers turn on, spraying fluid everywhere. And the dashboard display screen? It just flashes a picture of two hackers.
And what happened next is honestly terrifying. The transmission just cuts out. The Jeep slows to a crawl right there on a busy highway, and the brakes completely stop responding. The journalist is literally no longer in control of his own car. The ones driving are two security researchers sitting on a couch 10 miles away with a laptop. Now, this event was a massive wake-up call for the industry, but here we are almost a decade later, and the situation hasn't just persisted, it's escalated dramatically.
So, to understand exactly why this is happening, we have to look at the anatomy of modern vehicles. Section 1, computers on wheels, the data center in your driveway.
Think about the sheer scale of the software we're dealing with today. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner runs on roughly 14 million lines of code. An F-35 fighter jet, one of the most insanely advanced pieces of military technology on Earth, has about 24 million. But a typical new car in 2026, it contains over 100 million lines of code. Just let that sink in for a second. Your everyday commuter car has 4 times the software complexity of a stealth fighter jet. It's really no longer a mechanical machine with a couple of computer chips thrown in.
Instead, it's a massive, fragmented network of individual brains. The crucial thing to understand here is the ECU, or Electronic Control Unit. Essentially, an ECU is a tiny computer, and your car has anywhere between 70 and 100 of these scattered throughout it. One manages the engine, another controls your anti-lock brakes, another handles your power steering, and others run your infotainment screen or your Bluetooth. So every distinct function is managed by its own dedicated little computer.
Now, obviously, they don't work in isolation. They have to talk to each other constantly. Enter the CAN bus, which stands for Controller Area Network. You can think of this as the car's internal internet. It literally connects all 70 to 100 of those ECUs together. And look, this connectivity is brilliant for making cars smarter and safer. It's what allows your automatic emergency braking system to instantly tell your engine to cut power, for example. But as we're about to see, this brilliant internal internet is also an absolute security nightmare.
Which brings us to Section 2, Real-World Cyber Attacks, Mapping the Attack Surface. Let's look at how this internal network actually gets exploited.
Since you have 70-plus computers all wired together, your security is truly only as strong as your weakest link. And modern cars have an astonishing number of doors left wide open to the outside world. Just think about all the vulnerable entry points on a typical vehicle. You've got Wi-Fi hotspots, Bluetooth connections, 4G and 5G cellular modems, GPS receivers, even things you'd probably never suspect, like your tire pressure monitoring system or those handy little USB ports right there on your dashboard. Every single one of these wireless or physical access points is a potential open door for a bad actor to reach right into that internal network.
But here is a number that should really grab your attention: 97%. In 2022, over 97% of automotive cyber attacks were remote. That means the hacker didn't need to smash a window and they didn't need to physically plug in a wire. They never even touched the car. They simply found a way in through one of those wireless connections we just talked about. Physical access is officially a thing of the past for modern car thieves and hackers.
So how exactly does a remote attack actually take over a vehicle? Well, it usually starts with an attacker finding a vulnerability in a seemingly harmless internet-connected area. A classic target is the infotainment system, where your radio and maps live. Once they break into that specific ECU, they've got a foothold. And because that infotainment ECU is connected to the CAN bus, that central nervous system, the attacker can use a technique called CAN injection. From the radio, they can literally inject malicious messages directly into the CAN bus, seizing control of critical safety features like the brakes, the steering, or the engine. Essentially, a bug in your Spotify app could theoretically compromise your brakes.
Now, if you're thinking this all sounds like an isolated, theoretical problem, think again. Section 3, the Pwn2Own nightmare. 76 0 days in a weekend.
For some context, Pwn2Own is a massive, highly respected hacking competition where top security researchers try to find vulnerabilities in real products to win prize money. Well, in a single weekend at their automotive event, researchers managed to expose 76 unique zero-day vulnerabilities.
Now, what's really terrifying about a zero-day is that it means the car manufacturers had absolutely zero idea these flaws even existed. There was no patch, no fix, no defense. These researchers were completely breaching Tesla systems, electric vehicle chargers, and basic Bluetooth connections without even needing to pair a device to the car.
And the threat surface is expanding at lightning speed. In just the first quarter of 2026, automotive CVEs, which is industry speak for identified security vulnerabilities, saw a 102% increase year over year. The number of potential ways into a car is essentially doubling every single year, and the number of people out there actively looking for those entry points is growing right alongside it.
Section 4. Escalating threats beyond the Jeep. The whole nature of these attacks is evolving incredibly fast, moving from isolated stunts to widespread, systemic risks. When you trace the timeline of these events, the danger really comes into focus. We started in 2015 with that viral Jeep hack, but jump to 2023, and you've got teenagers on TikTok using nothing but standard USB cables and public software to exploit vulnerabilities, eventually stealing over 8 million Hyundai and Kia vehicles, which led to a $200 million settlement. By early 2026, the attacks had escalated to remotely breaking thousands of cars through connected platforms. People were literally waking up to dead cars that required a dealer intervention to fix. And worst of all, ransomware. We're now seeing hackers target entire fleets of delivery vans and rental cars, encrypting their systems and demanding Bitcoin on the dashboard screens just to let the vehicles move.
It all boils down to this chilling reality, highlighted by researchers at the University of Florida regarding steer-by-wire vulnerabilities. They demonstrated that by compromising the right ECU, an attacker could override the electronic steering signals entirely. As they perfectly put it, you turn left, the car turns right. When a car no longer has a physical mechanical steering column and physics is quite literally replaced by code, a software bug is no longer just a glitch, it is a matter of life and death. So the obvious question we have to ask ourselves here is, if we've known about this stuff since 2015, why is automotive cybersecurity still seemingly failing? Section 5. Why security is failing. The root causes.
Well, there are three massive structural flaws baked into the industry right now. First is the business model itself. Automakers desperately want to sell software-defined subscriptions. Think heated seats for a monthly fee, downloaded via over-the-air updates. But every single cellular connection designed to download a new feature is inherently an entry point that can be attacked. Second, the supply chain is just a mess. You have hundreds of different suppliers writing completely disjointed code for those 70 different ECUs. If the supplier who makes your keyless entry module makes one mistake, your whole car is vulnerable. And third, lifespans. Cars stay on the road for 15 to 20 years. Having an unpatched 2016 software system trying to fend off highly sophisticated 2026 cyber threats is just an impossible battle. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Let's talk about what's being done and what you can do right now. Section 6. How to protect yourself. Industry actions and consumer defenses.
The auto industry is definitely mobilizing. On the defense side, we now have UN R155 regulations, which actually force automakers in over 60 countries to prove they are monitoring cybersecurity throughout a car's entire life. Companies are also vastly expanding their bug bounty programs and pioneering rapid over-the-air security patches. But they're up against some brutal emerging threats. They're fighting AI-generated exploits that can write complex attack code instantly, ever-expanding software complexity, and of course the massive new attack surfaces created by the push for autonomous vehicles. It is a constant, exhausting arms race.
So, what's your role in this arms race? Well, here's your actionable checklist for securing your personal data center on wheels. First, you need to start treating your car exactly like your phone. When you get a software update notification on the dash, install it immediately. Those are very often critical security patches. Second, remember that a USB port is a data connection. Never plug untrusted USB drives into your car, especially if you're in a rental. Third, secure your car's companion app on your phone with strong, unique passwords and two-factor authentication. That app is a direct wireless bridge to your vehicle's engine and locks. And finally, use your wallet to demand better. Ask your dealer point-blank how they handle security updates before you even consider buying a car.
Which brings us to our final thought for this explainer. We are hurtling toward a future where our vehicles drive themselves, requiring infinitely more sensors, more code, and vastly larger attack surfaces to pull it off. So I'll leave you with this question. As cars become fully autonomous, will the industry prioritize our digital security with the exact same urgency they prioritize a vehicle's acceleration and range? Because moving forward, a hacked car isn't just a compromised computer anymore. It's a multi-ton weapon. Stay safe out there, guys.
both online and off.